everybody, Ocholi Okutaba is my name. So I just want to address this very important question that has bothered a lot of people. You know, when you talk about court marriage, traditional marriage, then you talk about the right to have sex after traditional, especially as Christians who are waiting, to be married in church. So I'm just going to take my time to address the subject around this. Now, the advantage I have is that I'm a lawyer. So I have certain perspectives that I'm going to throw at you just to make sure that you get this perspective and be properly guided so that you don't run in frenzy of, oh my God, have I sinned? Oh, have I not sinned? Particularly that there's this subject about what a wedding is, what's the idea behind white wedding, whether white wedding is white man's culture, what is of faith, weddings are not mentioned in scripture, every marriage in the Bible is traditional marriage. Oh, just calm down. All right, so here's the deal. As a nation or as a people, we have different kinds of marriages that are recognized legally speaking. All right, so what happens is for many of us, we actually have double-decker, triple-decker marriages, and I'm going to explain. Because each of the things we just took to be right are complete marriages in their sense. For instance, what you call traditional marriage is a complete marriage in law, recognized by law as marriage. All right, it's recognized by law as marriage, proper marriage. All right, so you also have marriage under the act, what we call court marriage. It's actually marriage conducted in the registry. All right, that is marriage under the act, where you are giving certificate that is recognized anywhere in the world. Now, most people do that one just because they want to have ease of proof, internationally speaking. It's from the registry. It's marriage under the act. All right, then we also have church marriage, as it were. Now, let me quickly draw a distinction. Except the church is a licensed place of worship that has the license to issue state certificates, that marriage in Nigeria is considered to just be, a traditional marriage in status. Because what the law will look at is what the families did or the culture of the people. Because that place is not licensed. But it's a different ballgame. Some churches are licensed place of worship. They issue you the certificate given to them by the state. So although it was done in that church, it becomes like the same certificate given by the state, because that's a state certificate simply issued through a licensed minister. Other than that, the law just looks at it that you went to church to do a celebration. All right, a celebration of the traditional marriage. Of course, I'm not going to dwell on the fact that we have Islamic marriage. That's another kind of marriage under our law. So down to the real question, can we have sex after our traditional marriage? We are Christians. Woo-hoo. What do we do? Can we have sex? Chill. Here's the deal. Now, to the believer, we're not just limited to do things just because they are lawful. That's where it comes in. So it doesn't mean you don't have a valid marriage. You have a valid marriage. Very valid marriage. But here's my question. Why do you still want to go to church? Because you have a faith and a conviction that tells you that's important. So here's what I tell people. If you want to consummate the marriage after the traditional marriage, why do you want to keep customs? Why are you being religious? Why are you waiting to go to church? Simply tell your pastor, because what's a valid marriage? Two consenting adults in the presence of witnesses. Finish. So why don't you tell your pastor, sir, we want to go ahead and be married after the traditional occasion is done and families fulfill all the rites. Sir, can you show up at my trial and say the blessing? You have license. You have license. But you know the religious thing we do? We don't get married. We wait until we have done trad, fix the church for 2 or 3 months later. That's just being religious. 1 month, 2 weeks, and we're under pressure. Hey, help yourself. Church is not just a religious wait. If you choose to split it that way, it means you have revelation. Paul says all things are lawful, but not all things are expedient. So it is lawful for you under law. But is it expedient in the face of the fact that you have put the date of the blessing? As a child of God, having revelation that the blessing is important. Is it so? Are you seeing how A matter of choice it is. A matter of revelation it is. So here's the deal. Whatever God has joined together, let no man put asunder. This is the example I always give people. If the blessing is so important to you, please take the blessing on the marriage before you consummate. Alright? So I tell people who still have the opportunity to arrange this whole process. Look, if you want to have your conjugal rights and enjoy it very well, especially with the covering of the blessing said over the marriage, then please, pastor, attend the traditional ceremony. For some people who now do things better than all this, spend money here, spend money there. If I merge it. They pay the bride price, give the wife. You stand there, the same vow that is taken in church, that vow can be taken on a tree and be valid. Said by the person whose grace you respect, your pastor, I believe, who should say the blessing. All right? So it's a matter of revelation. So let's not get legalistic with the argument. Yes, you can have sex after the church. After the court, you can have sex. I'm telling you, it's a valid marriage. Even God is not offended. But what are you doing? You are choosing to say, you know what? I want to receive the blessing. And let me quickly correct an impression. This is not about white wedding, Western culture. No, please, the gospel is not Western. The gospel is Christ, is Zion. So it's a matter of revelation saying, you know what? I do not want to proceed with marriage without the blessing. So it's not by fault. You know, I've read some people, I don't want to call their name, popular people saying all manner of things, and I'm just amazed. See, the kingdom of God is not logic. It's revelation. So my intention is to receive the blessing according to the holy ordinances of a faith-based. I mean, different churches have different doctrine, but because you subjected yourself to that, it means you believe the doctrine of that assembly. All right? So there are ordinances of marriage. You know, in some churches, I also don't want to call denominations. I mean, you can go ahead and be married, you come and take the blessing later. That's the ordinance of the church. Go ahead. That means you're blessed to go ahead. But if your conviction is different, that you need to receive the blessing of marriage, take your oath under God. And this is the last point I'm going to touch. Please, this is not absolute to anybody, but let me just share revelation. What God has joined together, let no man put asunder. What culture has joined together, culture can put asunder. So this is the last bit and very important bit I want you to know. What is going to put you together? So yes, you are traditionally married and it is valid. But let's go into the culture where you are from. Would you like that culture to dictate your marriage? This is the revelation that tells some people, yes, I know. Our parents are giving us, culture has released us, but we want to wait for church before we consummate. Why? What God has joined together, let no man. Under certain culture, all of us did cultural rights. You can marry 2 wives. Under certain culture, all of us did marital rights. You can do things that are not acceptable in Zion. So it's a matter of revelation to say, you know what? That's why some people who have revelation will simply say, you know what? Dad, mom, thank you very much. We like the fact that we have liberty based on the traditions that has happened. But we want to wait. They may be wondering, like these children now, wow. We want to wait. We know it's hard, but we want to wait. Why are we waiting? We're saying, you know, our culture, we just respected and honored parents, honored our family, so that they don't think we came to fight. No. We take that, we discount it in our mind and call it rights. For instance, we did trad, me. We did registry before the church day. But the wedding I recognize is the vow I took before God. That covenant I entered with my wife before God. All right? Am I saying God is not present in the other ones? No. I fulfilled the law in the registry. In fact, that's the certificate I used to travel everywhere I travel. That's the one we submit when you ask. All right? Our families met. I wasn't even there when they paid bride price. That's how my culture does it. So I don't even marry for myself. Who am I? I was a boy, small boy. All right? But here's the deal. I don't want to be ruled by the dictates. For instance, you can just, high court is the way to go based on my registry marriage for divorce. First of all, in the covenant that I chose to elevate above others, God hates divorce. Are you getting the deal? So it is because I want to, just like a bond servant, I want to make myself subject to a higher law, to a better covenant. That's why we teach people to say, if you understand revelation that way, then consummation is not a thing you just take as a matter of, hey, we have right now, hey, we have right now. Hey, calm down, calm down, calm down. So if you want to do trad and consummate, it's a choice. If you want to finish the registry marriage and consummate, it's a choice. But if you have revelation and you don't even want to wait till a white wedding occasion, you know what I suggest? Get your man of God to your tribe. He says the blessing, makes you read out any other vow you take in your own church or in your denomination that, solidifies your covenant under God, and you're good to go. So let's not complicate what is easy. And by the way, do you know, even on a Sunday service, if you are called out and you take vow, you're married, 2 consenting adults, presence of witnesses, you're good. So what are we talking about? All right, so make sure your consummation is done after a vow is taken under God and the blessing is said. It's very important. Very, very important. So whether it's at the tribe, whether it's at the registry, or you choose to separate all the ceremonies, God bless you. I hope that this addressed the question for a lot of people. It's not rocket science, all right? It's just revelation. God bless you. Chole Okutepa is my name.